He goes, well, do you know what that little safety meeting costs? And I go, no. And he goes, well, it costs $25,000. I says, well, then you tell me how much it's costing to have all these men out for 8 hours, 500 men. What does that cost? I says, you need to get that steward hired back.
My name is Kalima Ramsey, and I'm a sheet metal worker out of Local 100 in the DMV area, by way of Local 28 out of New York City. I chose to take the piece that resonated with me from Chapter 7, Exceptional Men. I'd had a lot of good mentors. One of the best layout men in the Northwest here. I've worked with or around him for the last 5 years. Now I've become his partner basically, any job he goes to. And we worked layout with the transit and level. It requires thinking more than anything. This man, who's really kind of like a genius, I work with him, and he's made mistakes. We laugh about them. I know even the best make mistakes. We always had the joke. Measure the cloth several times, cut it once. There's nothing that's so monumental that can't be fixed, I've learned. If you cut something off too short, just get another piece, weld it back, and my goodness, you've got a full piece again. This resonated with me because as a young apprentice, my foreman thought he was doing me an injustice by sticking me with a mechanic that nobody wanted to work with. And the reasons were because of this mechanic's outside life, which to me had nothing to do with him teaching me anything about sheet metal. This mechanic was the best at finishing linear diffusers, making them look like you didn't know where one end and one began. He also was contracted by the boss to do finish work in his home. This mechanic took me under his wing and taught me everything he knew, and we actually became friends outside of the job. He respected me as a woman and respected my knowledge and teaching me everything he knew about the trade. With a mechanic like him, I felt comfortable and took on the job and was ready to learn anything. And it gave me more confidence. I find it that even though these things have happened years ago, some of these things are still happening today. But we still have exceptional men as we had them years ago to come and be those brave men to help and stand by the women who are going through these trades and helping us make our way through.
So we was hanging tops, and when I was climbing on the steel girders, I was on one side, and my foreman was on the other side, and we're hanging this top, and the wind's blowing, and I'm doing all I can to hold this thing, right? I'm not as strong as he is, and I'm holding, my fingers are ripping.
He asked me to lunch. I said, I bring my lunch. He said, I do too. We'll meet and we'll go out in the parking lot. So we used to meet and we'd walk out in the parking lot. They're all, hey, Bill, hey, Bill. They used to tease Bill all the time because he used to charm me with honeydew melon. He used to bring me honeydew melon every single day. I'd finish my lunch and I'd eat the honeydew walking back to the job site. Oh, Deb got a honeydew. Bill must have brought honeydew. He's what they call a pusher, a sub-foreman. And where I was working, he could come out of his area, come find me, talk with me for a while. He asked me out on a date. I told him I was a widow with 6 kids and I didn't have the time and all kinds of excuses. And he was like, who cares? What was nice about Bill is they never knew I was dating him. I didn't date him for a very, very long time while the job was going on. It was a couple of weeks before it was over. I started dating him. I was interested. So I agreed one day. I must have known him 5, 6 months or so to meet him to go for pizza. Ever since, I've been with him 11 years. My girlfriend Julie had dated some guys on the job and then break up with them and they've always got something smart to say. Billy's very quiet. I don't know why he's with me, but one gabber, one quiet. He never told any of those guys on the job anything about me. They asked him if he was dating. He used to do this thing, closed fists, none of your business. And he would never talk to them. So I never got a reputation from them. But it was really weird because they never knew I was dating him till one Saturday they had picked him up here for something. And I was coming out of the house with stuff. They were like, wow, I didn't know you was dating that girl painter. That was like a year later. He had enough respect for me. So yeah, that's from my friend's book. We'll call you if we need you. And this happened in the 70s. This is an old story. How does it relate to now? Is I guess some men are exceptional and they want you to succeed and they're not trying to hurt you. But I wouldn't say that's the norm. And sometimes I feel as if, as a nation, we've regressed, at least when it comes to feminist policies. I see a lot of women on the jobs, and they're the first ones willing to knock another woman down, willing to say something like, there's two kinds of women in the world. Ones that you have kids with and marry, and ones that you have fun with. And I think that's a bunch of balderdash. Thank you for listening. And I'm reading you this excerpt from Susan Eisenberg's book in my new home that I just purchased. I'm Kristen Cassidy McBrin, IBW Local 3.
And they had these two heads out there, right? And they were so filthy. I couldn't go in them and hold my breath long enough to use the bathroom. So I told this guy that was the foreman, I said, hey, I'm going to this KFC I seen down the street around the corner.
Towards the end of my apprenticeship, I was really catching the blues. That last year, I said to myself, I'm not taking this crap anymore. I'm going to start telling some of these guys off. Well, that was the worst thing I could have done. It's almost like when you get revenge and it's not as sweet as you think it's going to be. That last year was my worst year by far. I remember this super telling me, maybe I shouldn't have gotten in the trade. Why don't you just give up and give out? I fell out with a lot of the guys. Some of the guys I had liked previously, just rubbing each other the wrong way. They started rotating me, working me every other week. At that time, I didn't know if it was because they wanted to lay me off or couldn't figure out a way to really do it. I am Saisha Roberts. I'm at a local 219. I'm a plumber, pipe fitter. I resonated with this story so much because in my 5th year, I decided the same thing that Miss Gloria decided. I was not going to take it anymore. I just started telling people off. Well, and the same in her story, they decided to, send me to a couple different jobs and they laid me off. But I feel it was a blessing in disguise because I am now at a new company and I've only been a journeyman 4 months and they have just promoted me to foreman. So I'm happy.
And the angles are all perfect. I mean, the fittings are shaped at perfect angles, 90 degrees or 45s or 60s or Ys or whatever you have. And to just stand back and look at something that's functional, looks so beautiful, and to be able to say you did it.
About lunchtime, I saw the project coordinator coming toward me, and sure enough, white envelope. Handed me the envelope. I thought I would die. You know how your mouth fills up with salt just before you cry? I couldn't even talk. The guy handed me my check. He said, I'm sorry, you don't know enough. You need some better training. Oh yeah, I need some better training, but there's nobody who wants to give it to me. I didn't say all that, but that's what I was thinking. That's the excuse they always have. They don't want to be the ones to spend money to have one of their people take enough time to train you. I went to the union hall. I thought, that's it. They're going to just kick you out now. You don't know shit. It was the first time somebody had said to me, you don't know enough. And I had no idea how much I was supposed to know. I checked in at the counter and told them I was laid off, and I'm sort of wondering in a daze, what am I going to tell my kids? But for some reason I think, let me go see if the school coordinator is in his office. I had no idea I was going to confess to him. I'm laid off. I said, how much am I supposed to know anyway? He sort of looked at me and he said, what do you mean? What kind of work were you doing? Residential. There were some pipes sticking out of the ground. I didn't know what the hell they were. How much is a second year, third year, or fourth year supposed to know? He started scratching his head. Well, it depends on if the journeyman takes you under his wing. And some people learn fast and all this bullshit. I said, wait a minute. I just started my third year. How much am I supposed to know? He said, I don't know. I couldn't believe it. I said, you guys don't have an agenda. I really got mad. So he calms me down. He says, pull up a chair. He drew a picture of a bathroom with the 3 fixtures in it, and he said, now draw the sewer line. I drew the sewer line, and he said, now where are the vents? And I didn't know what the vents were. I heard the term, but I didn't know what the function was. He said, everything has to be vented through the roof. And so I watched him. The toilet pipes extended halfway into the middle of the room, and he drew a line back to the wall. I said, how come you're drawing lines over there? He said, you can't bring the pipe up through the floor in the middle of the room. You have to run it back through the wall and bring it up. A light went off. Something clicked. I think we spent about 3 or 4 hours in his office with him drawing pictures and us talking. It was like the miracle worker when the deaf girl finally understands what all those finger movements were about. And then he turns around and says, like it wasn't anybody's fault, that's why you should have started on residential. Like, how come you didn't put me on residential? Residential lets you see a whole picture within a month. You get to see where things originate from and where they go to. Why the water lines are run this way, the waste and the vents and all that. I was on commercial for 2 years. I never saw a whole of anything. They were running pipes. I didn't know what the hell they were for. I did thank him. He could have done that all alone. But he didn't know I needed it because I didn't know to ask. After that, I was fine. I went home and studied my books. I went on the next job. I knew what things were. I started to understand. My name is Cynthia Wheeler. I'm a plumber, Local 38. I've been in 25 years. And this story resonates with me because as apprentices, we're not taught enough. And when we turn out as journeymen, we're expected to know everything. I hope in time that the coordinators and the programs would get it so apprentices could get it and we could become better journeymen.
I found a place for me. I really like welding. I really liked building. I really liked the problems that were involved in seeing something and being able to get it done.
Hi, I'm Deb Gilcoin, a member of the IUPAT, District Council 35, Boston.
And I'm Mary Gilcoin, IBEW 103, 5th year apprentice.
I'm going to read a little piece about myself from the book We'll Call You If We Need You. I went to the Mystic River Bridge. They were sandblasting it. I thought for sure they were going to try to scare the daylights out of me. One kid says, Deb, you can't let you climb over a 4-foot ladder. You have to be 18. I couldn't climb any of the steel or do anything with them. I had to be a ground crew. The day I turned 18, up I went. They put me to the top of the tier in the sky climber. I thought for sure they thought I would get scared and just disappear into hell with this stuff. I loved it. I was up there. It was great. I mean, the wind would come and slam the stage in. I got scared, but even my partner did. I liked the height. It didn't bother me. I just liked being up there. That was 43 years ago.
And I will be reading an excerpt in tribute to Gay Ann Wilkinson. She was a member of Local 7 Iron Workers. She was a pioneer for women in construction and a dear family friend. Taking a thin piece of metal covered with flux and fusing together two other pieces of material, and knowing that it's perfectly safe and that you've actually created a third metal, and seeing that weld go up there, there's a great deal of satisfaction to that, because it is something that not everyone can do. People can think that they are welders, but there are welders, and then there are welders. On the skinnier boilers, the men were having trouble not blowing holes in it. Most of the guys, when they weld, want to push it right in, and skin casing is very fine steel, very, very thin, and really almost delicate. It's exactly what it says. It's a skin casing for the insulation and everything that's around boilers. It takes very low heat, and it takes just skimming over it. If you push on it with any kind of heat, you will blow holes in it. I had a better touch. I was able to weld lighter.
Gay Ann Wilkinson was a pioneer with women in construction. She spent the better part of her adult life encouraging young girls and women to enter into the construction field. She encouraged myself to continue with my growth in the construction industry, and I encouraged Mary, and Gay Ann also encouraged Mary. Mary and I would like to encourage other women and young ladies to introduce themselves to the construction field and continue with the pioneering going forward.